Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. It means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And as the filming dates for Survivor 43 and 44 come closer and closer, we're left to wonder whether 26 days will be permanent or not. And this video is going to be an 8-minute essay tearing apart 26-day seasons and arguing in favor of returning to 39-day seasons in the future. Okay, so before we talk about how terrible 26-day seasons are, I'm going to explain why CBS was justified in doing them for Survivor 41 and 2, and why CBS no longer has that excuse for 43 and beyond. And no, it's not just as simple as COVID happened. It's really all about CBS not wanting to change the filming dates, which I'm sure many of you are thinking, well, then why'd you change the number of days in a season? And that question is answered when noting that when 41 and 42 were filmed in early May, late April, I would say also June as well, Fiji had a mandatory 14-day quarantine rule in place for anyone entering the country, meaning that if CBS were to greenlight a 39-day season, then production would be out there for a total of 53 days just to film one season, which is ridiculous. I mean, compared to the normal 39 days that it takes to film one season, not to mention that they film these seasons back to back without having production leave the island. So that would mean that 106 straight days of filming in Fiji would take place. That's almost 3 months or a fourth of a year. That's just not sustainable morally or financially. And so to solve this, after quarantining the players for 14 days, the game was 26 days, which adds up to 40 total days to film a season. Basically identical to the normal 39 days that it takes to film a season, meaning that they basically are filming for 39 days. They just don't have the cameras on for the first 14 days of filming. So overall, 26 day seasons are a direct byproduct of the 14-day mandatory quarantine. But guess what's gone right now? That's right. The 14-day quarantine is no longer mandatory in Fiji to foreign visitors, according to this person who went on vacation to Fiji 4 months ago. As she explains, anyone entering the country from a country who is on Fiji's quote-unquote nice list, also known as Fiji's travel partner countries, does not have to quarantine for 14 days. Which thankfully does include America, meaning that legally the 43 and 44 cast do not have to quarantine before playing, which means that production in theory has no more excuses for having a 26-day season if they do so in the future. So now that we've debunked any claims that they still need to do 26-day seasons, I think it's time to look at why 26-day seasons are bad in the first place. So there's many reasons, but the first and most simple reason is simply that it's iconic. 39 days to 20 people, one survivor, it feels normal. And even if you ignore all of the complex reasons that I'm about to break down, 26 days is just kind of whack, bro. Like, it isn't it. It really isn't it. Next is that 26-day seasons don't push players nearly as far physically as the 39-day seasons do. And for me, this isn't really something I'm focused on, as I care more about the game rather than the survival aspect of the show. But I will say that when players are out there, you get players running on fumes after 39 days, towards the end, which to me makes everything better. When people are running on fumes, people show their true colors, which usually leads to great confessionals and fun reality TV moments. You also get people making very, very good moves or very, very bad moves, because when you're exhausted and running on no food, you tend to go with your gut and take more risks, which can result in you pulling off an impressive 3-2-1 vote. I'm looking at Usuri, or you get giving away your immunity necklace to 4 women who want you out. I'm looking at you, Eric. And a big change that 26 days brings is simply less content for the editors to choose from, with the loss of a day in every single 3-day cycle, really, taking a hit out on the show and really making the show a worse product overall. The Spy Shack, Tony's Ladder, Tony talking llama to Cass, all of these wouldn't happen if that off day, that day when there's no challenges, rewards, or tribal council didn't exist. And when we move to a 26-day game, we lose this off day in each episode, which can result in less camp life scenes. This 26-day format also results in less time to develop the characters that make it far. So overall, a big negative of 26 days is the lack of time that we get to see the players and the lack of choices that the editors have to tell the story of the game. When we go to 26 days, we also get less camp life scenes because this off day usually holds most of the camp life scenes of the show. This 26-day format also results in less time to develop the characters that make it far. So also, a big negative of 26 days is that the players who make it far, you really don't get to know them as well as you got to know past legends in the past. And it really makes it hard for an S tier character to pop on the screen when you only have 26 days of content from them. So although the show is the same length, the amount of stuff that the editors can choose from is most definitely not the same length. This 26-day format also results in less time to develop characters that make it far. So overall, a big negative of 26 days is the lack of time that we get to see players. A 26-day season, also presents a bigger issue, which is that alliances have less time to solidify, leaving us with a lack of clear sides at the post-merge. And as I said in the past, the best seasons have clear alliances coming into the merge, or at least by the second vote of the merge, and then have flipping going on after that. Kagiyan has two sides that Tony flips back and forth on. Heroes vs. Villains has heroes versus villains. David vs. Goliath has Davids and Goliaths. You want to be able to clearly tell who is on what side coming into the start of the merge, because if you don't, you end up with seasons like Game Changers and Edge of Extinction, which are good seasons, but they don't, rival these Kagiyan, Heroes vs. Villains, David vs. Goliath scenes, because it's really never clear who's on what side until maybe around the finale, even maybe like Final 5 or 4, or even after the game at times. Like in Winners at War, I got more from after the game, post-game interviews than I did from the edit in the actual episode. But that's also because of Edge of Extinction. So it's kind of a double-edged coin. And that's not to say that shifting alliances is a bad thing. A season like Cambodia that has shifting quote-unquote voting blocks still succeeds, but that's because the editors clearly established the alliances coming into the merge and coming into each episode, with everyone starting out being against the Wicked Witches alliance, and then flips happening later on in the post-merge. It's also very, very impossible to have these solid alliances coming into the merge when you're spending almost a week less with your pre-merge tribe than you would in a regular 39-day season. Now, the reason why I think CBS may not switch back to the 39 days is because it's much cheaper to film two seasons that are 26 days each back-to-back. Think about it. If they filmed 26-day seasons back-to-back without leaving the island, with casts that didn't have to be quarantined like it is right now, they could film almost 4 seasons in the same amount of time that it takes to film 2 regular 39-day seasons, which obviously would be really, really cool if they would actually film 4 seasons and air them throughout the year, and then we just never have an off season. But because CBS is cheap, they're just going to say, okay, film 2 seasons, and it costs us half as much money to film, meaning that even when views are low in the show, we can keep making the show because it's so cheap to make. It's much cheaper and much less time consuming. Again, it's iffy. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Am I overreacting, or is it just not that big of a deal? Is it something that needs to be addressed? Is it something that needs to be in the show? Is 39 days really, going to affect the show, or is it more of just something that's in our heads and we really can't tell on the screen? Let me know in the comments. As I always say, none of this happens without you guys. Without you guys, I'm just a weird guy speaking into a weird microphone. So as always, thank you. And that's what I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.